And welcome back, everybody, to 3D Hangouts. I'm Noe Ruiz, designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week is Mr. Pedro.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects featuring electronics from Adafruit. That's right. This is a show where we combine 3D printing, DIY electronics, smash them together, and make peanut butter and jelly. That's a new one. We got the very awesome Adabot in the back.
Oh,
right
he is back there.
Joining us.
And all his friends hanging up there. They like to hang up high. Okay, this week's project, this week's coupon code is Toy Mods. That's right, it's Toy Mods. Welcome everybody in the chat room. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday morning. It is January 18th, episode 120. We're streaming live, of course, here in the Adafruit Southwest studios. That's what I'm calling it. That's
Quick
right.
shout out to everybody in the chat room. We got David Smith, writer, Witty Fan, and Jim at 2386.
How you guys doing? Thank you for joining us. More people, as more people roll in, we'll shout people out. And let's get started with some things here. We have free shipping for orders that are $200 more. All of our enamel pins have run out, so we're trying to make more of them. If you go to adafruit.com/free, you can get all the details on the restrictions that apply for those deals. So we're working on making more stuff. What else do we have? We have same-day delivery for the fine folks in New York City. Giant Adabot robot will bring you a giant Adabox to the city. Look how massive he is towards the city. Or maybe that's perspective. I don't know.
He's a friendly bot. He's not going to destroy anything.
He's a giant robot. He's there to deliver you giant pick-and-place machines. Okay, we also have the Adafruit Daily newsletter thing. You have to opt in. So go to adafruitdaily.com if you want a newsletter, a daily newsletter. That's why it's called Adafruit Daily.
And just recently, we launched the MicroPython newsletter.
That's right.
So check that out. We got contributions from Mr. Tony DeCola and Scott.
Yes.
So check
Thank
those
you guys
out.
All right, so let's jump into the show. And what are we prototyping? So this week, the project video hasn't launched yet. It will be launched later today or maybe tomorrow. So let's just jump into it. I have it under here. It's kind of big. And I haven't teased it, so you probably don't know what it is. This is what it is. Okay, so this is a Halo sword. This is the Halo Energy Sword, officially licensed from Microsoft. And it's exclusive to the retailer's GameStop. So GameStop is I'm not sure if they're outside of the US states, but this is an awesome. So this is a $60 cosplay prop collector toy thing. And it has electronics. So there's a switch in the back here. It actually has sound effects, and it has LEDs in it. Although the problem was that the LEDs, there's only 10 of them. So in this week's project, I took it apart, and I added 80 NeoPixels. So it starts up, and here are the LEDs. There's 86 LEDs in this blade, or in both of the blades combined. So it's like 43 in each blade. So it has a trigger button, and it has an not accelerometer, but a tilt switch, or maybe it's a vibration switch. So it makes those sounds. And to power the LEDs, I'm using an Adafruit Trinket, which is pretty awesome. So that's this week's project. It's a toy mod, which is why the coupon code is Toy Mods. Yeah. So this was kind of cool. So over the holidays, let me turn this off and kind of show you guys the guide so I can walk through it. So we'll have the guide a little bit. The guide is done, but it's going through like a little review. So we'll have it out later today. So here's the sword. Again, it only has 11 LEDs stock. So let me go to that and show you kind of what it looks like. Not that one, but this one. So here's what it looks like when it's turned on, like by stock. And this came out like maybe 3 months ago. So I saw like there's a couple of, it's fairly new. Like it just came out the last year. It sounds old, but it's fairly new. So it only has 11 LEDs.
Last year.
Quote unquote, yeah.
So last month, actually.
So if you guys remember, we've done a couple Halo projects before, and our neighbor is actually a photographer, and she's like a huge Halo fan. So for Christmas, like a couple years ago, her husband got her the Master Chief suit. So then over the holiday break, her son came over and was like, hey, look, I found this Halo sword at GameStop. It was only $60. Do you think you could add more LEDs? And I said, why, yes, of course I can. So that was this week's project. It was pretty awesome. It's a late Christmas gift for Stephanie, but it's awesome. So this thing is really nicely manufactured. It's got some nice details to it. Some people don't like the blades because there's these like joiner pieces, but it really makes it a sturdy cosplay prop. It's really well made. So my whole thing about it was like, how can I take this apart, tear it down, and add more electronics to it? So that's what I did. So we'll have the video out a little bit later, and that'll be up on the YouTube channel. But real quick, I'll kind of walk through some of the components. This was, in terms of electronics, is only 2 components added here. So we have a 60 millimeter strip of NeoPixels, the mini skinny ones, which are like much smaller than the regular NeoPixel strips, and then the Adafruit trinket, which is the little $7 trinket that's very, very small and accessible. And there's some tools and stuff that I have broken out here, but there's not really that much 3D printing. There's not really any 3D printing you have to do. I'll talk about a little bit on it. For the software, it's just using the NeoPixel library and one of the built-in sketches, the demo sketches that uses, it's the toggle, or is it called the cycle? Yeah, the cycle sketch, which uses a button to cycle in between different colors and different animations, which you can see here in the sort of start show void thing. The circuit diagram is pretty straightforward as well. It has a button and 2 NeoPixel strips that go into the same data, the same data pin. It's very easy. And I was able to reuse the power from the actual circuit, so I didn't have to have an extra power supply to it. So on the back of the handle, you can see that there is a little cover, a switch. And so I took the batteries out and I disassembled it. So it's really easy to take apart. There's not much glue. There's not any glue, really, in the blade. It's all put together with screws, which is awesome. A lot of the time, things are just glued, and then as soon as you take it apart, it breaks. But this is not that. This is definitely worth its weight. And inside the handle is, of course, all the electronics. So there's 2 PCBs. In the main PCB, it has that, like epoxy circuit or IC chip, which I don't know what it is, but it's really nice that the 2 LEDs from the blades are connected via connectors, so you can unplug these really easily. I thought I'd have to like solder them or cut them off. No, they're connectors, which is awesome. So they designed this really nice. There's also the tilt switch is inside one of the blades. It's probably a vibration switch, but we're just going to call it tilt switch. So it's inside one of the blades, mounted nicely. There is a little bit of glue in the blade, but that's literally all that's in there. And inside the blade is this sort of acrylic plate that has like edge-lit textures in it. Or it has textures in it that gives it that edge-lit look. And on the bottom of that center plate that's inside the blade has this kind of bracket that holds all the LEDs in place. So I just removed those and then started figuring out the power distribution. So for the power, on the second PCB is where the power switch is and the trigger button is. So I used the multimeter to trace where the power was coming from, and then I took the PCB out of the handle, which is secured by 2 machine screws. Again, another awesome thing. It's not like glued in place. And in the back of that PCB, you can see there's labels. So I was really happy. So I was able to find ground and voltage labeled as VDD and GND. And then right next to that PCB, or really next to the speaker, is a little empty area. So I tried to fit a feather in there. Couldn't fit a feather. I couldn't even fit the Pro Trinket. So I ended up fitting the trinket, the small one. So it fit in there perfectly. And there's literally like a standoff hole right next to the edge of the board. And I was like, wow, it couldn't be any more perfectly sized. So it fit right in there without any problem. So I walked through the wiring on the back of the trinket. There's these 2 pads for ground and power, so you can wire it up into the PCB itself. So I just wired right in there, and the trinket has built-in power regulation, so you're not going to blow it out. And anyway, since the power only uses the battery holder's 3 AAA batteries, you're only getting 4.5 volts. Anyway, this is the 5-volt trinket, so it worked out pretty well. Let's see, the NeoPixel strips. So These again are the mini skinny NeoPixel strips. They're like about 5 millimeters in width as opposed to the 10 millimeters, I think, or so in width. So they're skinnier and they're minier. So that's why we call them that. Now, there's different size. With NeoPixels, there's always different densities. So we have a low density, high density, and the like. Is my screen showing up okay? Yep. All right. So I just cut them down to size. And one thing I did use 3D printing for was making support structures for the NeoPixel. So to make it sturdier, because it's all floppy and stuff, I 3D printed these very thin little strips. They're like a 1 millimeter thick. I 3D printed these strips out, and then I used double-sided Nido tape to stick them on the back of the NeoPixel strips, and then I used some heat shrink tubing to make sure that, because I was combining multiple sticks together, so I used heat shrink tubing to join those together. So I got this really stiff and sturdy NeoPixel stick in a way, and then I was able to fit those into the blades. One really awesome tip on this project that I want you guys to know about is that you'll know that the trinket only has one ground and one 5-volt pin. So to add multiple things that need power and ground, you need more pinouts. So a lot of times people use the Perma Proto boards, the FR4 boards, but it's kind of a waste to use the whole board. And if you just want a piece of it, you kind of have to cut it, and it's FR4, so it's kind of toxic when the dust flies everywhere if you're using a Dremel. It's kind of hard to cut. So I recommend using a flexible breadboard. We call it the Flex Perma Proto, and it's the half-size like breadboard PCB. But this is awesome because I was able to use just a small piece of it. I was able to cut it with scissors and then break it and break out all my ground and voltage. So we're starting to use this stuff in like a lot of projects. So let me do a quick preview here to show you the Flex PCB stuff. So I would definitely pick this up, use this in lots of projects. I'm picking out little pieces from it, and we've only used it in a couple projects. You can see here we use it in the Clock of Doom, we use it in the Star Trek project, and we use it in the Pokemon Finder project that uses the Pi Zero. So I would recommend using this in more projects, especially projects that need a lot of ground and voltage or even data. I also wired data into it. Really easy to work with because you can cut it with scissors. And it's flexible, and it's kind of durable too. So definitely check that out. I hope you guys start using those in your projects. The next thing I wanted to do was to trace out the buttons. So I figured out where the buttons were. It was right next to, on the bottom of where the switch is mounted. So I created some wires and wired that in. And I had to make sure that I wired ground from the trinket to ground on the PCB of the handle here. So I just kind of walked through wiring everything, getting everything connected. Wiring the NeoPixels is pretty straightforward. You do want to measure your lines and make sure that your wires are always a little bit longer than you need them to be because it's always a pain to add wire later. You can always trim it down. And of course, you always want to make sure that you're wiring into data in on the NeoPixel strip as opposed to data out. It's denoted by the arrow, so just follow the arrow and you'll find it quickly. Putting it inside the blade was pretty easy. You just kind of have to put it off to one side. Inside of the blade, it's just one piece. So you kind of have to thread it through. And then I wanted to reuse the acrylic piece just to give it that diffusion and that sort of cool texture. So I put it back in, and then I had to kind of finesse the strip so that it kind of curved around the end of the bracket. So I did that, and then I kind of repeated the same steps for the other blade. So there's 2 blades, so I got to do double the work. But everything fit nicely, and onto reassembling, pretty straightforward. Just put everything back. I used some mounting tack to keep the flexible PCB in place. I put this tilt switch back. Everything just fits nicely. Just make sure all your wires are contained. The handle has this built-in like wire harness thing, so I just fit the wires through there, which is awesome. And then I used some tape to kind of contain all the wires together. So closing it back up was really easy. Nothing was intersecting or too big or bulgy, which was awesome. I didn't have to cut any holes or remove any standoffs. It really was like a non-destructive like build, which was awesome because I haven't really done a toy mod before. And it was kind of rewarding and insightful from a design standpoint because you can see how everything is made once you get inside there. Really cool. And it really makes the product that much better, the cosplay prop anyway, that much better. So that's just a quick walkthrough through this, That's just a quick walkthrough of this week's project. Again, the Halo Energy Sword, manufactured by Mattel, licensed by Microsoft. So you can check it out here at GameStop is the website. So this is it. It's actually got some pretty good reviews. Folks got it for look at these photos. Oh, nice photos. But you can clearly see, like, oh my God, 11 LEDs. That's so underwhelming. Good reviews. People bought it. He loves it. Santa brought it for Timmy, and Timmy loves it. It's great. So if you're a Halo fan, you might remember. Oh, not that one. That's next. We've done a couple Halo things already. So we already did the Halo sword, fully 3D printed. And it's using a Bluefruit feather, an Adafruit feather, Bluefruit 3384. But we use a smaller NeoPixel strips, or less dense, low density NeoPixel strips. So there's like 60 or so NeoPixels in here. But you can easily put more. So we fully 3D printed this thing, if you guys remember. The circuit's a lot simpler, maybe not, maybe it's about the same.
No, it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier, you think?
Yeah, you don't have to mess with anything that's existing in there and mess with anything, any of the mounting boards that are on there. So, but obviously a lot more difficult to print. This is, I forget the number of how many pieces this is split into, and this is on a big printer as well. But it does have the Bluetooth connectivity on there, which you can change out to just have it light up as soon as you turn on.
We're gonna battle now.
Size-wise, I was able to get the exact measurements of it without even knowing. You can kind of see
it's actually on
like
par. It's like the
right
same.
on, except the tips of the sword right there, just a little bit longer on mine. Yeah.
We're measuring swords. We're literally measuring the size of our swords.
It's definitely a lot more lighter than that one, just because
this one has weight. I have 3 AAA batteries,
exactly
speaker and amplifier. Yeah, it's definitely heavier. But the cool thing is that Pedro's has more diffusion, just because the plastic isn't clear like this is. So what they wanted to do was to have this transparent so that you could see these like lightning bolts or whatever, which we could eliminate. You could see that the tip here is much more diffused because it's actually spray painted or airbrushed or something. But if this whole blade was airbrushed, you would get this effect here, which it's nice. So. Both very awesome projects, very achievable. Well, this one is more difficult because you got to 3D print it, but we had some makes on that one. Yeah. So folks have been able to 3D print it and cut it into more smaller pieces for their 3D printers.
What I like about this is that this one is very easy to get into. You have all of the screws that mount everything together. This is all held together by epoxy and hot glue, so a little bit more difficult to get into if you had to repair. Except for the way that I'm using the jumper cables to connect the 2 blades together right here. So that makes it a little bit more easier, but in the long term, if you wanted to go ahead and change something around, I would have to take off the ends of this to get inside of the main board here. For power-wise, though, this is going to last a little bit more longer just because I'm using the low-density NeoPixel strip inside here.
And you don't have to power a speaker and
yeah, that too. And charging for that is a lot more easier since you have access to all the ports on the back side there.
I just pop these batteries out and put new ones in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rechargeable AAA batteries. But
definitely a way to go if you have,
what's
GameStop
more cost
nearby.
Effective? It depends. Like this is $60
with the mod. This it ends up being
that's $120 because it's $60 in electronics too. About $60.
The cost
because there's so many strips that you have to have.
Yeah, so the cost that you're paying and 3D printing your own is just the time that it takes to print all of these giant pieces. And the only reason I was able to print this in a timely manner is because I'm using a 0.8mm nozzle on the Ultimaker to print these out in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
But there you go. I'm sure there'll be more Halo
what's
projects.
What's funny is that a lot of people say that this doesn't sound at all like the Halo Energy Sword. Like these are whoever did the sound effects for it, it is not ripped from the game at all. So something that's cool is you could rip them out of the game and add an Adafruit audio effects board to your project and make it more better than this one. So there's a lot of opportunity on both projects to make it to modify it more, to add more functionality to it. So again, we have that one, and then earlier we did Cortana. This is one of the projects we did with Becky. We collaborated with Becky. So we did Cortana, like a wearable Cortana suit, which is pretty insane. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of sewing involved, but very cool nonetheless. So a couple projects, a couple Halo projects now.
So a couple of the questions in the chat room, writer was asking, what is the maximum amount of NeoPixels a trinket can control at once?
About 100, and that's why I didn't want to use the high density pixel strip, because that would easily go over 100 pixels. There just isn't enough RAM in the trinket. You would have to upgrade to a Trinket Pro or the Adafruit Feather line of boards. That's why I use the trinket.
So it's mostly a memory issue.
So about 100, depending on what you're doing with it. Like if they're full brightness, you probably don't want to do that.
And then another question was what we use to convert videos to GIFs, and it's
Photoshop.
Just Photoshop, yeah.
There's other free software tools, online tools. You could use Jiffy.com. I think that's the popular one. But Photoshop gives you this really, like, you could literally see frame by frame and optimize the lossless and the quantity and the diffusion. Like, there's a lot of settings you can do.
You can also adjust how long individual frames last, which is the trick I like using for doing reverse and backward.
Full editing, like it's a full editor for GIFs.
Some people were saying that you could do that inside of Premiere as well, but you don't have that granular control of every single frame. Like I want this frame to be 4 seconds long. I want this one to be 0.34.
And then you can have individual layer adjustment layers.
Yeah.
That's where we're coming from, so that's why we know all this stuff. Cool.
Other questions are...
How long did it take to print the Halo sword? Probably a day.
No, that's just the blades, I want to say.
So it took longer.
Oh yeah, it took about 2 days to print everything, because the handle is actually printed at 150 microns just to get that nice smooth.
And it has supports.
It does need supports because of the way I have to print it vertically.
That's right.
And the blades, each one took about, I want to say, an hour to print, or 40 minutes. And that's only because I was using the 0.8 millimeter nozzle on the Ultimaker.
Yep.
How do you print something that long? I printed it sideways or diagonally on the
you get more
print bed.
If you print diagonally with a kind of a sharp object or a narrow sized object.
And the writer is saying GIMP might be able to do the GIFs.
GIFCat. That's another option from David Smith. Sounds cool. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Well, again, we'll have that project released later today. It's just going through a little review phase, but we're fine.
Cool. And then you got some updates to the fidget spinner.
All right, moving on from the Halo Energy Sword. I know it's so cool.
And last week, people were saying, why didn't you print this flat on the bed?
So I did. Mainly because I figured that, well, if I print it flat, I'm going to have a lot of layers, a lot of build lines. And of course I do. So I printed this at 100 microns, which gives me more layers. And some people like this. I like it too. It's pretty neat. So one tip that I wanted to show you guys is that inside of Fusion, or inside of Simplify 3D, and I believe the new version of Cura 2.3, they have this feature called external infill pattern. And what you can do is set that to concentric and get these lovely concentric patterns on the outside of your part. There you go. Now it looks great. You can see there's a little bit of scarring. That's because I should have put Z-hop. So there's another tip for you. Z-hop. There you go. So you can see there's a little bit of scarring. Go ahead and flip it on the other side, the flat side, which prints on the bed. There you can see the patterns, how concentric external infill patterns look really nice. They can give a lot of definition and texture to your object. So that is definitely a cool tip that I recommend you guys if you want to print it flat. Another thing I found is that it spins a lot better because it's creating a better circle. It creates a much better cavity for the bearing. So if you'll notice when you print it vertically, circles don't always come out perfect circles. They come out kind of squished and oblong just because of the way the layers are kind of stacking on top of each other. So it worked out really well. So yeah, I went ahead and did this and uploaded it to all the sharing sites So you guys have both options, printing it flat or printing it vertically. Okay, well, another thing I did over the weekend was I thought I'd design and 3D print a regular tri-spinner. So this is sort of the typical design that you see for spinners. They have like 3 arms, and then you would put bearings on each one of the arms to give it a better spin and a better weight. So this thing spins a lot longer, and it's a lot more satisfying because it has weight to it. But what I wanted to do was kind of come up with an exercise on how I can achieve this design in Fusion 360 using parameters and the least amount of steps. So it's kind of like a little exercise because it's such a simple thing to design. Well, let's try to come up with some new techniques on to make it the simplest as you can and use some user parameters. So that's what I did. So if you check out on the YouTube channel, I released it yesterday, and you can see, you can walk through it. A lot of great comments came in too, and people following it and learning little things here and there. So that's what I try to do, is to pull out little tutorials or little tips here and there in every layer by layer that I do. So if you're not already, check out the playlists, our layer by layer playlist. I'll have a link down below for it as well. So pretty cool. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like doing easy designs because then you can kind of think about the best ways and some sort of methods on how to do it differently.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then moving on to next week's project, the Light Up NeoPixel bracelet. Just wanted to talk about some of the magnets that I've been using. So last week I showed this off. It's the skinniest form that I could come up with for fitting the mini skinny NeoPixel strips inside there. We have a trinket. If you can switch over to the monitor so I can see. So it fits both the older, is it micro?
No, it's
USB?
mini.
Mini USB.
Yeah, so before the micro USB ports, we used the mini USB ports on all of our products.
Yeah.
And now
we got the process down so we can use the mini one. So it'll fit both. This one the micro is a little bit more shorter, so you are able to fit that inside there. And I changed out using the translucent filament to the natural PLA just because it has a much better diffusion with the LEDs on there, if you can see the difference between these two.
Can you double check to make sure our stream is working real quick?
No, it is. I just checked it.
You did?
Yeah. Still
Okay.
going. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's still going.
YouTube.
YouTube, I just checked as
Really?
well. Let's see.
Sorry guys, I'm just a little...
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys for dealing with this. I just really want to make sure we're not...
Yeah, so you can definitely see a difference on there, and they're not any further away from the walls of the
Check this
of
out.
the bracelet here.
Check it.
Very cool, yeah. So, I mean, if you wanted to have the more sharper look on it, you can go with the translucent filament. You want to have the more diffused
I love
look.
the diffused look.
You can go with the natural PLA that we have in the shop. But we're here to talk about magnets this time, and for the prototype, I used the flat disc magnets that we've used before on projects. I don't remember the size of them, but they are linked in the Star Trek communicator badge that we use these on. So we actually had to use quite a bit of them because of the force of them isn't as strong as we'd like them to be, just because of how thin they are. And I didn't want to increase the size of these, so I actually, for prototyping purposes, I just hot glued them to the ends there. And even though they're directly touching, the strength is pretty weak on these for the pull strength on them. So I was looking on KJ Magnets and was able to find these diametrically polarized magnets, which means that the magnetism is actually happening on the sides of them. You can see I colored in which side actually attracts. Kind of zoom in there. So the poles are going right down the vertically through there. They won't attach to the flat side of this cylinder, which is pretty cool because the larger surface area is going to give you a lot more better pull, more strength on that, and they were perfect for fitting on the sides of the inside right here.
Yeah, so they're nested nicely inside the cavity.
Yep, they just press pull inside there. There's no glue or anything that's
great.
holding them in place. And very satisfying click of when they snap together. So definitely a nice tip for if you are trying to get magnets into a very tiny enclosed space.
There's
check
lots of
these
options out there.
Yeah.
KJ makes some of the best magnets. They're U.S. manufacturer.
Yeah.
And it's cool you can get magnets with stronger pulls.
Yeah, so we're pretty big fans of magnets here. The last magnet project we had was the magnetic shoelaces, which use these
Massive compared to these.
compared to
little ones.
these, yeah. And the pull strength on these are really good. Whoa.
Whoa.
But I didn't want to. Again, I did not want to
Danger.
increase the width of this,
You
as you
imagine
can
those
see.
magnets there?
And put in. I mean, I could almost fit them in there sideways,
Yeah,
but
it's
again,
scripture.
yeah. What's making all of this hold in there so nice is because of the tolerances that are on the inside of this. I don't need to hold anything. I don't need to glue or mount anything down. It's just because of the press fit size of the widths of this that both trinkets are able to fit inside there, nice and snug. It's not going to fly out. Same thing with the slide switch, and of course the NeoPixels with the silicone coating still on there, which is probably why you're getting that very nice diffusion, even though it's pressed right up against the wall of the
Also, it provides
sides
grip,
here.
so they don't slide around in there.
Yeah, that too. So definitely a good tip. I think I have in the show notes, you can see what the model number for these are if you are interested in picking some of these up. They're about 29 cents, I want to say, each. So you can buy like 20 of them and it'll be like $5. It's the shipping it's actually the most costly thing about these, but definitely recommended for just how small they are. And again, because of the large surface area, the pull that you're getting on them.
All right.
So we switch over to K&J magnets. There we go.
Wow.
They are
They are
diametrically magnetized, and I really like the way kept playing with. I'll post a video of it later.
Like buckyballs or whatever.
Yeah, the way that they all stick together like a nice little circle like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. Good price. Obviously, the shipping is what you're paying for.
Yeah. So Ryder is asking, is it okay to curve the lithium polymer battery in that bracelet? So it's actually not curved.
Yeah, somebody asked that earlier too. Like,
Yeah.
How did you get the battery in there? How did you curve the battery?
Yeah. So check this out.
Definitely don't want to curve the battery.
No, you don't.
You're gonna cause some potential fire hazards.
So let me just take that out of here, since it is very easy to do maintenance on. So it's actually not curved. It's again, the sizing of it was perfect enough.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about more of the CAD next week when we release this. You can see that I actually have less material right where the battery inserts, so it has just enough room, and it's pretty loose inside there. What's keeping it all
the wiring holds it in place.
yeah, the wiring is
The way it has friction in
keeping
it.
it,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So actually, it does not bend. It's just if you can kind of see right there.
It's hard to see it, but yeah, I get it.
Yep, it's nice and straight, and there is actually less material right here for the battery, and then it gets more thicker
thinner.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah, you can barely see it. It's like one line thinner, which is
One parameter.
perfect for fitting the battery in there. There's no bending in there. There's like no pressure being applied to it. There's even enough space to where it can bulge up just a little bit, and it won't get stuck inside there. So very nice. Again, everything is very accessible and easy to adjust because there are no charging circuits inside here. The trinket does not have the ability to charge this, so I had to make sure that you could easily take the battery out and recharge it, plop a new one in.
You got to go through compromises when you're making something really, really small. So good stuff.
Yep, so I'll talk about the CAD, some techniques I use to model this. And
Real quick,
I really like
I want to say
how smooth and tiny and compact this is. There are a couple of other magnet or bracelet projects out there that have like UV meters and like accelerometers, but there are a little bit bulky.
What was I gonna say? Multiple.
But the cool thing about this is that you can adjust this to. Are you playing the video here?
Yeah.
Check this out. It almost fits around my ankles, so you can make like
Nike Mags.
Yeah. So instead of
by Skechers
having light up shoes, why not just have like a
light up ankles?
Ankle cankle, LED cankles there.
NeoPixel cankles.
Yeah.
NeoPixel socks.
Or
help
turn
us
it
come up with a good name for this project.
Or turn it into a what's it called?
A punk collar.
Punk collar. So very easy to adjust the size for that.
That's dope.
The sketches, I'll adjust to that, but we'll talk about that next week. But just more ideas if you are thinking about this. You can pick up the skinny NeoPixel. I use the medium density for these. Okay. And if you line these up correctly, you can
you can make a grid, so you can
make
spell
a grid.
things out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Very cool.
One thing I want to say, we are using the new trinket that has the micro USB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on this one.
It's just that we have a lot of the old ones because we stocked up on them, and then the new ones came out, and then we didn't get the new ones but we have one left, so that's why the old one's in this one and the new one's in that one.
Yeah,
just throwing that out.
It's a perfect project if you have any trinkets lying around.
The old ones, yeah.
Yeah, the old ones.
Because the mounting holes actually are not the same, unfortunately.
Oh, yes.
They are not the same. So a lot of the projects that we did in the past that use the old trinket,
you're going to have to move some
things around. You kind of have to move some things around. Just throwing it out there.
Which is why I really like this project. There's no mounting. It's just press fit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're all being held in there with the grippiness of the wires, but I'll show all that next week. Pretty cool.
Or do both light up shoes and ankles.
RGB ankles. That's a good name.
Ankles.
Thanks, Aiden.
That's cool. All right. That's what we're prototyping this week.
Quick question in the chat. The custom PCBs, what software are you using to design?
EagleCAD. I actually have an EagleCAD tutorial for the Cherry MX gamepad that I made. Very simple. A good introductory. Of course, there's other great YouTube tutorials on EagleCAD, but that's how I learned. We also have some guides on the Adafruit Learning System on how to use EagleCAD. Yeah. So check that out.
And then Ryder is, mentioning that we are using the old trinket in it. And then, so that's the old one in here, and then the new one is inside with the mini USB. One of those unexpected things where it's like, oh, yay, both of them fit in there, even though I designed it for the newer trinket.
Right, yeah. That's great.
Very cool. All right, moving right along into this week's Community Makes.
Oh, Ryder's saying add a blue fruit module, and then you can control it from your phone. Yes. Maybe if it was a bigger...
It's bigger, yeah.
Maybe if it was a belt or something, then you'd have
the belt would be good. Yeah. Again, this was
or a headband.
A test to see the smallest, thinnest form that I could fit all that in there. Look how tiny that is.
It can be an earring. Oh, a big earring.
Big old earrings, yeah.
Use a NeoPixel ring for that. Actually, Becky already did that. Remember? Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's move on to...
Actually, no, I think it's Shop Talk.
Yes, it's Shop Talk. I was going to say Shop Talk.
First thing I think is the OctoPrint update from the very awesome Gina.
If you want, we'll have to backtrack, so just keep that in mind. All right, so just a quick update from OctoPrint. Gina, who works on OctoPrint, is
if you guys
just
don't
like
know,
most of us back from vacation, so she's working on version 1.4. 1.3 was released not too long ago. Just wanted to give you guys an update that she does do live streams on her progress, and she live streams them to her Patreon, but then on the archive, she gives out the link, makes it public so everybody can see it. She's also trying to, I think she's going to start doing some live sort of Octo plugin development tutorials, so folks can write tutorials write plugins, more plugins for OctoPrint. So awesome. If you guys don't support Gina on Patreon, you can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/Foozle. I'll have a link for you guys. So, anywhere from $1 to like $20, you can help fund an amazing piece of software that we use every single day. Speaking of which, I wanted to check out this new plugin from the awesome developer Billy Blaze, who put together the mobile UI plugin for OctoPrint. He put together a really simple plugin for the camera. So this is actually upstairs in my office. This is the Printerbot Play. And it has the Raspberry Pi camera hooked up to the Raspberry Pi 3. So all the plugin does is you can now double click on the screen to make it full screen. And it's a really simple plugin, but it has some extra kind of display things. So you have temperature, your print time, print left. And you can pause the print there. So I don't know, I think it's kind of cool because now I can get a bigger look, because you're kind of, you could do this. It's not working. There you go. You could do that, but it's nice to be able to kind of full screen the thing. So I don't know. It's a plugin called full screen plugin. It's that simple. And you can find it on the plugin.octoprint.com, I believe it is, or you can search for it on GitHub or wherever. So it's easy to get it. And that's kind of all I wanted to say about OctoPrint. Yeah, it's going strong, working well. And I think I want to use this to kind of like, maybe we can incorporate this full screen mode into our Wirecast so that we can like have prints going on.
Are you controlling it already?
No, but I can, so I can control this here.
Woo! Live printer controlling.
Live controlling here. Yeah. Let me Z the bed here. So if you don't have OctoPrint and you're looking for a way to wirelessly connect your printer to your network, I highly suggest OctoPrint. That's it. All right. What's the next thing?
Next thing is
Pinshape.
Pinshape.
So the winners for Pinshape 2016 awards has come out. So we just wanted to kind of walk through them. The top integrated electronics design goes to the desktop satellite antenna by Hyperplane Interactive.
So awesome.
That's awesome. I think they won that contest as well that we helped collaborate on. Top functional design is the $30 3D scanner by Dave. Awesome piece of kit. And then the top game cosplay design goes to Lily, I believe, who released the Widow's Kiss sniper rifle. Top home living design goes to the Spiral Vase by Big Bad Bison. And the top maker goes to Make It, username Make It, who put together the OpenRC tractor project. And Adafruit wins as the top designer, which is, thank you so much for the people who voted. We told you not to vote for us, but you did anyway. So we thank you. No, that's great, since it's not just me or Pedro, it's me, Pedro, and John Park, and even Phil B. So I think it encompasses all the people at Adafruit, so that's awesome. And then the top print goes to user Dookie, who did the birdhouse, the Craftsman birdhouse, which is awesome. And of course, the top YouTuber goes to Joel Telling, 3D printing nerd. We actually met Joel at Maker Faire New York last year. Awesome, awesome guy. And I'm sure you guys are already subscribed to. He just hit 50K on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to it if you haven't already. Great stuff. Top printer goes to Form Labs 2, which we are dying to get our hands on. Pinshape, you're listening to me. Top design software, I'm happy to see Fusion 360 since I have invested so much time into it. I'm glad it's working out. Form Labs is the top brand. Cura is the top 3D printing software. So thank you everybody who voted and participated in the Pinshape Awards. We're actually going to 3D print the trophy. They sent it to us, so we're going to 3D print it and make it a time-lapse Tuesday.
Very cool.
So that's it. Check out Pinshape if you're not already, and if you are a designer and you're sharing stuff, be sure to check out Pinshape. They're a great marketplace. They really care about their community, and they have contests every single month, every week or something. And we've helped sponsor some of them before. Right now they got a filament contest, a great way to get free stuff, free 3D printing stuff, mostly filament, which is great because we always could use more filament. So check them out, check out the contest, and always check out their designs and things and their blog. They make great content. Okay. What's next?
And then this week's Time-Lapse Tuesday was
Baby Groot.
super cute, little Baby Groot. Everybody's been printing this cool.
Oh my goodness, Baby Groot, you're so cute. Everyone on the internet is 3D printing you right now.
Yeah, so we printed this in bamboo filament, which came out super stringy, but pretty easy to clean up. And then I combined the head and the body into one. But before I did that, I hollowed out the head and then had the whole go run all the way through his body and had the little drainage come out of his bottom there.
His bottom?
Yeah, I'd turn it upside down, but the soil would fly everywhere.
And it would be inappropriate because he has a hole in his butt.
But super clean print. I can see why everybody loves printing it. It's the new Yoda.
And the build lines add that texture to, well, the wooden look of him, which is awesome.
Definitely smells like wood.
It smells like Baby Groot.
Yeah, so the bamboo filament, although stringy, does add that extra bit of look to it. I didn't do any sanding or painting or staining, but
some people have.
Yeah.
And they look great. So it looks great out of the printer like this. Bamboo fill from ColorFab has a little bit of PHA in it, I believe, too.
Yeah, it does. Strong. So pretty cool. Definitely recommend printing one of these out.
So this is a remix. Pedro, you haven't released the remix.
I think somebody might have already, but if you guys want, I can release the the hollowed out head version that has a little drainage on there for the plants.
Yeah, and if you don't know, there's a little story, a little kind of current version story. Check out Joel, the 3D printing winner, Joel Telling. He put a video up on some of the things that happened with the STL files. They're up now, they're free. You can get them from various sites.
Pretty cool.
But great stuff. So what did you use to remix him?
This is just using Mesh Mixer, and that's pretty much it.
Just Mesh Mixer.
Just combine the head together and then punch a hole through it.
Cool.
With just one of the cylinder objects that they have in there.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Pretty
Good
easy.
stuff.
It's a
Cool.
Google print.
Check it out on Time Lapse Tuesday. That was yesterday's video. Good stuff.
My writer's saying to make the trophy for the Pinshape contest out of gold PLA.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Printer.
We have gold PLA from Malt Ink, so we're going to use that.
Yep.
All right, catching up on comments. Anything else? Really? I think that was it.
Okay, yeah. Aiden says to post it. All right, I'll post that up.
Yes, we will do. All right. All right, well, is that it for Shop Talk? I believe so.
I believe so.
All right, cool. You know what? I want to talk about
Community Makes.
Community Makes, and the first project is actually from our very own John Park. Where is it? Here it is. Oh yeah, John Park's biggest project yet. Here it is. You guys remember Overwatch, Lucio's blaster? He wanted to do a different approach. He added lots of NeoPixels, bang and bass, amplifiers, Arduinos, sound effects, triggers, modes, everything and everything. This is a massive build. So check out John Park's tutorials. It's a 3-part series, and he just released the files on Thingiverse. So be sure to check this out. It's up on the Adafruit Thingiverse account, and we'll try to get it on other sites too. But people are loving it. All the comments are coming in. People really want to build this. Over 150 downloads so far. Awesome. It is a bunch of pieces. I don't know exactly how many, but enough to have different photos because it couldn't fit it all in one photo. We helped print out some of the bigger parts on our Type A machine, but you could, of course, cut them in half and stuff. Just kind of simplify.
He actually already has that cut up for you. So for smaller beds, you can get that version of the bigger circular parts.
Cool. So check out John Park's tutorial. I read through it. Man, it is awesome. It is a really good read because he talks about, in the beginning anyway, he talks about this planning for it, how to go about building something so massive. You want to have everything in different pieces. Use materials that are easy to cut, like cardboard, to get the sizing figured out. Organizing your stuff in bins, just simple stuff that kind of go a long way. Sketching things, how he sketched everything together. It is a brush of fresh air to read this and get like tips as you're reading it, and his sort of process of how did I get to the final thing. So very, very cool. A lot of different code pieces too to kind of test everything in stages. So he's got just the NeoPixel ring, just the sound effects going, and then combining all 3 of them. So it's awesome. So check that out. Part 3 is coming out. I actually have to log in as an admin to see part 3, just to give you guys a quick look. I hope John doesn't get mad at me for showing part 3, and everybody can now see what's coming soon on the admin. So yeah, he's working on, he needs the parts. We just shipped him the parts, so he'll be getting those either today or tomorrow. And it is massive. It's massively cool. So check that out. Huge shout out to John Park for releasing working on the project. It is definitely one of the most beast projects on the Adafruit learning system right now. Good stuff. Oh yeah, and he's already working on the next one. He's doing a lot of mystery box projects, so be sure to check those out too. A little bit of laser cutting and 3D printing and circuit playground. Awesome escape room theme projects as well. So I like he's taking on different like cosplay stuff, and man, he already has a ton of guides. Look at this.
Very cool.
Yeah. We should have invited John Park on the show. It's probably like 8 in the morning over there.
Oh, I think so.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have a John Park special on the show. All right. Well, that's kind of it for. Oh no, we're still doing Community Makes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We got next up, super cool little poly synth.
The poly synth. So this was put together by. Oh, I forgot your name. Sorry. Let me pull up your name again. Toby Hendricks. Toby Hendricks put together this awesome design. And he wrote a lot of code for the Teensy to make a polyphonic synthesizer. It just sounds awesome. So check this out. I'm a big fan of making instruments, MIDI instruments, controllers, what have you. I've done a couple myself, but this one's really nice. It just sounds really cool. With everything built into the box, it's kind of like the standalone synthesizer. So it's awesome. It's not MIDI. I don't think it's MIDI. I think it's just kind of generating its own sounds through the Gene and a couple other components. So check that out. He's got the code on GitHub, and it's just an awesome project. Again, shout out to Toby. I'll have the link in the description. Next one is a fidget cube. You've seen me make fidget spinners, and the trend of the fidget is still going strong. So the fidget cube is something that started with Kickstarter, and a lot of people wanted to make their own. So maker community design their own. So this is cool. It's just got a couple different components like buttons and a 4-way switch, different pieces so you can make it different colors. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. I'll probably make one. So yeah, fidget cube. I think it's pretty neat. The last project I want to talk about is this cool toy mod. Haha. A toy mod for the, what is this thing called? The Cozy Coupe toy car? Little toy cars. It's using an Adafruit wave shields and an Arduino and a couple buttons and lights and things. So you get this cool kind of hot dog song. I think it's awesome. I just love control panels, buttons and things. It kind of goes with the same theme of like having your own synthesizer, like the control panel and stuff. I think it's fun. So it goes in with this week's theme of toy mods. Maybe we'll do more. I don't know if maybe you guys have some ideas and stuff. So check them out. Cool project. It's up on the Arduino blog. And the last thing I want to show you, it's not really a project, but a YouTube channel called the Hello World Program. I'll have the link down below, but if you type in the Hello World Program in the YouTube, this comes up. This is a very fun show. It's a kid's show, but it has a lot of adult innuendos in there. And I recommend watching this one, Powers of Two, with, it's super funny. I think it's really funny. The writer, they have a huge writing team, and it's all puppets with graphics and stuff. They do get down to like teaching like basic concepts of computer science, but they do it in a way that's super funny, clever, and it really kind of has the same vibe of Circuit Playground, which is our kids show. But these guys do an awesome job. It seems like they started like 4 years ago, and their content is just amazing. So check them out. I think they do one like every 4 months or so. So it takes the team. It's a big production. I think it's a pretty big production because you can see the credits at the end. Yeah. But it's fun.
No, the scripts are written very well.
They're so funny.
Pretty hilarious. And of course, the teaching element, of course, is in there.
They have an Adabot-like robot. They have a Python snake, a Firefox web developer who teaches you web stuff, and then a penguin for Linux, of course. Cool. Back in the tunnel, and we're back. That was this week's Community Makes. If you guys have any projects that you'd like us to share on the show, please drop us a line on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. Our handles are up here. I'm at Ekin, Pedro's at VideoPixel, and we're all at Adafruit. We're all on these fine networks here, except for Vine, because Vine died yesterday.
Yep.
Sorry. I had to put it on the low note.
And again, if you guys want to pick up anything from the shop, help support the whole company, use discount code TOYMODS. You can get all the circuits, LEDs, printers, filament, everything that we use to
You can also get these fine plush characters. And we have coloring books. Yes. Well, it's time for Q&A. Guys?
I think we answered...
Shoot them away. Fire all the questions that you might have. Does anyone have any questions?
I think we answered all of the questions in
That's the way to do it. Answer the questions as you're doing it. So yeah. I think we're there well. We're at the 55-minute mark, so that's awesome. We have about 5 minutes until we have to close the show.
I think that's it.
Really?
Yep.
Guys, how you doing? Use bronze fill or metal fill for the trophy. I thought about that.
It's going to be a little bit messy to clean up. That one does have
the bronze... Copper fill is probably the cleanest one. And there's not a lot of overhangs. There's a tiny bit of islands. There's the two arms, but I don't know. Maybe. It just requires a lot of material. It will be nice and heavy.
Would you ever consider making a Discord server?
I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look it up. Discord server? I'm not sure what that is, Ryder. And we're quiet now. Now, Pedro's looking up what a Discord server is.
Voice text chat app.
A voice text chat app? for controlling the printer? That sounds interesting.
VoIP application designed for gaming.
Huh.
So it's like a
TeamSpeak?
TeamSpeak.
Is that what it is? Discord.gg. Just go there. Oh, any dual material projects coming down the pipe?
Yes, there are. So as you guys know, we have been testing out the palette for the past, I want to say about a month now.
Yeah. Turns out there's some quality assurance problems, so we return the unit, they're going to fix it up and send us another unit, and then they have a great support team, so that's great. So you can be expecting some more progress with it soon.
Yeah, I'm actually going to show off some more stuff next week, depending on how quick it takes the turnaround for the new unit they're shipping over. But yes, more dual extrusion stuff is coming along the way.
Simon has a question. If we're printing other material that is not PLA on the Sigma, and if yes, that require the bed over 80 degrees, have we printed anything like ABS or?
I have not tried ABS yet on it, but the most used other filament is the PLA PHA, and I'm just using 70 degrees for the bed. Quite recently, I don't know, you can kind of see, I've been using just blue tape just because the heat is not really required for the bracelet stuff that I've been printing out.
I'm a huge fan of glass and a heated bed, but
sometimes you just don't
if you can avoid it, you're going to save like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the heat up
maybe 20 minutes because you have to wait for the bed to cool down, and
Yeah.
then you can probably far right off.
Yeah, I think the fastest bed heat up, I think, is the Type A machine, which is, I want to say like under a minute, something like that.
Oh.
Have we tried the ColorFab high temperature?
No, we have not. We have tested the high temperature PLA from the fine folks at Protopasta. That's like in their name, fine folks at Protopasta. Like I always call them that because they are fine folks. They're great. So that's all we've tested is the HT PLA from Protopasta, like the coffee and the other stuff.
David Fox is asking if we've tried flexible filaments on the Ultimaker 2. So the only thing that I could get to work on that is the Cheetah Ninja Flex.
The 2.85 size diameter?
2.85, yeah. Okay. I could not get even their own TPU material to print on it.
No, I believe they're working on a specific printing core for their TPU.
Yeah. So the Panda Manic, or Patty Manic is saying that a CNC version of the spinner would be cool, and you are actually working on that.
I forgot to tell you guys that. Yeah, I'm going to, for Milling Monday next week, I'm going to mill this out of pine wood. So the flat version, obviously, because I can't mill things, tall vertically. Yes, I'm going to CNC it on the other mill. It's going to be nice. I think it's going to be great. I'm using just one tool and one processy, what's it called? 3D adaptive clearing, which is like the smart, it's really easy and simple. I'll do a little thing about it, but yeah, that's all I'll say for it. Definitely good. Thank you for mentioning it because I forgot to mention that when I was showing you guys the spinner.
Okay. The Super Suicho is asking if we have a Delta. Yes, we have two Deltas.
That's right.
The CME-CNC Orion and the Delta Go.
That's right.
There are some version updates that are coming out for the Delta Go that we're still waiting on, but we are evaluating it for carrying in the shop.
Yeah. The Orion's a great machine too. I used it on, I used it to making like long prints. Yeah. And it has a heated bed, so it's awesome.
Simon is saying that he chipped the build plate on the Sigma.
Printing on glass over 80 degrees. Woo.
Yeah, I have not printed over 80 degrees. I think I haven't gone over 70 degrees. But again, if you really don't need it, you can just use blue tape, and that works excellent on it.
What are you printing on it? Like nylon or? Simon,
Nylon,
what are you printing on it? Nylon or ABS?
Nylon worked pretty good.
ABS requires like 120, right?
For the bed, I think it was like 110, and you have to have it all completely enclosed and sealed up.
I've seen some people get away with it, like making small parts.
Yeah, the small parts should work, but
if you're making a big enclosure,
yeah,
you're gonna get some warping. I mean, look at James Bruton. All of his stuff is ABS, and they're massive prints. He has no warping. He must have a nice room where it's heated or something, and with no air draft. So.
What else? Yes, we have done a ton of flexible filament printing projects.
Yeah. Check out our Thingiverse page and the Adafruit Learning System. A lot of great projects.
A ton in there.
You can actually make enclosures out of Ninja Flex, which was very fun. I had this Raspberry Pi case like bouncing. I threw it on the ground and it bounced around.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Printing Z plates for the Sigma. You know what?
Yeah,
one of these days we'll get the maker of Printing Z plates
on the show.
On the show, yeah.
Yeah, Wayne Hoothmaker. Yeah. He'll do it for you. He makes custom shaped zebra plates and zebra skins.
Yeah, and the size for that is just 210 by 297, so pretty easy to cut.
ABS on PEI is 110 on Lulzbot. Yep, that sounds about right. Okay, Simon was using Titan X from Form. People get these names like Titan X and like mega cool filament. What is the filament? Is it carbon? Is it
nylon?
Polyester? What is it? Yeah, is it nylon? We're not sure what it is. It's Titan X. All right, we're over the 1 hour mark. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on Wednesday. Guess what? We have more stuff coming up later tonight. We have an Ask Engineer show with Lamar and Phil. We get a look at new products, open source news, Raspberry Pi, Arduino news, and then before that, I should have said this one first. We have show and tell, which is on every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to come on the show and let us see what you're working on, we'd love to see you. Real quick programming note from the desk of Lady Ada has been happening like every day. It happened on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then wow, Lamar and Phil are doing awesome stuff. Tony D just released a introduction to CircuitPython using all of the boards.
It's what a lot of the future projects can be based on, so definitely worth a look.
Yeah,
if you want to take a look at, I think it's obviously going to be the future of what every programming board is going to use.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Cool.
So definitely check that out.
All right. And of course, this is on Wednesdays now. It is 3D Wednesdays, I guess. And we'll see if we change the blogs or not. I think we're going to keep them on Thursdays.
Yeah, it gives a little bit more time to post.
Because I have to do that after the show.
Yep.
Cool. And again, if you want to support us on the show, the best way to do that is to support your maker habit with a coupon code. It is ToyMods.
Gets you 10% off on all of the tools and materials, boards, everything that we use in making all the projects. Check that out.
Yeah, Matthew just got here. Sorry, Matthew, we got to end the show. It's been an hour, and you can always rewatch it. Yeah. Remember, it happens every 11 a.m. Eastern time here, every Wednesday. Again, thank you guys again for joining us. You are awesome people, and we love you so much. And good luck with all your maker endeavors. Until next week, we'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.